To set a proper scene for the introduction of our next guest, let's take in the following package. Former Governor of Kano State in northwest Nigeria, Dr. Ralph Okey Nwosu, said the poor performance of the ruling All Progressives Congress is making the opposition People's Democratic Party gain more popularity among Nigerians. He vows that more states will be captured by the PDP in 2023. Arise political editor Samna Sambo reports.
It's the inauguration of a new executive for the Borno State chapter of the People's Democratic Party after a successful reconciliation. Present here are top officials of the PDP and leaders of the party. Former Governor of Kano State, Ralph Okey Nwosu, in a goodwill message, says the PDP is prepared to form the next government in Borno State and that the failures of the ruling All Progressives Congress across the nation has made APC unpopular with Nigerians.
I'm so happy that while we are campaigning for the party, the PDP, the APC itself is also campaigning for us. Everybody knows that APC is in a total shambles in this country. Everybody knows, including the members of the APC. Those of us who made the mistake of joining the party realized that PDP is the home. And that's why we went there. Unfortunately, now we are back home to work together with you to ensure that PDP has leadership, have governors, state assembly, house, national assembly across the country, especially in northern Nigeria.
The Borno chapter of the PDP has been immersed in crisis for years, but with the reconciliation brokered by the Bukola Saraki-led committee, previous factions in the state have agreed to unite behind Usman Baderi as state chairman ahead of the 2023 general election.
I want you to give 100% support to this chairman. I have read him these days. I know he's the man with the quality to be a leader. He's a chairman to be the chairman of BTP in Borno State. And I assure you, if you give him the whole cooperation, we will have no problem in Borno at all.
So as from today, inshallah, there is no any PDP faction in Borno State. No Usman faction, no Zanagadama faction, no Muhammad Imam faction. Now we are working for PDP only in Borno State. Only PDP. So I am advising each and every one of us here, especially those people of social media.
The major opposition party is currently reuniting aggrieved members across several states. The PDP says it is prepared to offer a credible alternative to the APC due to perceived failures by the governing party. Samna Sambo, Arise News.
With Nigeria's political space warming up for another round of elections in 2023, many are asking, will it be same of the same, or will there be a digression from the norm, from a cycle that has been the dominant feature of Nigerian politics since her return to democracy 21 years ago in 1999? In that time, political power has practically been the exclusive preserve of the two biggest political parties in the land, the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party. At the moment, efforts are on by a group of Nigerian professionals and politicians to forge an alliance that's expected to midwife a third force in the country's search for true democracy. Joining us now to talk about this from London, United Kingdom, is Chief Ralph Okey Nwosu, National Chairman of the African Democratic Congress, one of the political parties involved in that project. We'll also talk to him about Igbo presidency and what the government must do to arrest spiraling insecurity. Welcome to the program. Good morning.
Chief Nwosu, good morning.
Oh, good morning. Thank you very much.
Good morning. It's good to have you with us. Well, before you joined us, we took a report by our political correspondent, Sumna Sambo, and a reconciliation event of the PDP in Borno State, where former governor of Kano State, Dr. Ralph Okey Nwosu, made the point that the failure of the ruling party in Nigeria has made the government unpopular and that this is known to everybody. Do you share that view? Although he went a step further to say that this is a major advantage for the PDP in 2023, that PDP will win. I know you may not agree with that second leg of it. You've been the national chairman of another party. But do you agree with him that this government has failed?
You see, I want to appreciate all of you. And then, but it's a very grim situation in Nigeria. And when we talk about our politics and our democracy, we see it declining on a daily basis. Why would anybody support the ruling party when, as of today, our president has gone out for medical treatment? For the last 6 years, the president has spent more than half of it going overseas for foreign treatment. What has been the proactive measure they've taken to see that our health sector is working? Now we have the pandemic all over the world. In a nation with over 200 million persons, there's nothing going on as far as vaccine is concerned. We are dependent on the rest of the world. And we have elected leaders, and we have persons who are planning to run for president to hold Nigeria for the next 30 years. Hold Nigeria for what? You see, at times, people like me, I feel particularly offended because we struggle to get the military out. And look at all the pro-NACO leaders, look at all the NADECO leaders, look at all the core politicians that we struggled with. Some of them have become the governors, and when they become, whether it's PDP or APC, they become governors, they become the richest persons in the polity in their states. Where is that? Where is that heard of? Is that democracy? Is that what we fought for? Therefore, it's not only about APC and PDP. You see a lot of persons running around. They want to be president, for instance, in 2023. And you look at them and they say the only qualification is because they have money. When did they make this money? When was this money made? You stole the state's money and you arrogantly move around all the governors. Frankly, in 2023, if any of the PDP or APC governors succeed in being governor, in being the president of the country, you know that the country is finished. Because he's just saying, young men, get into politics, go and collect your people's wealth, because that's the only thing that would make you to become a governor or become president. The country is doomed. So, as far as we are concerned, what will save this country is the third force. And by the grace of God, people are coming together again. And this time, we are going to succeed. I can assure you. We have taken time to build the ship. We have taken time to build the synergy. In 2018 and 2019, it was going to work, but we saw the desperation. And we thought, we don't have any reason to break our country. Otherwise, we will have flushed APC out.
Well, would you? Would you, though? Because this much vaunted third force really did amount to not more than a damp squib in 2019. I was one of those who was a huge proponent of the third force, and really not much happened. And as you have rightly pointed out in what you have just said, money played a huge part in that. Those good intentions were drowned by waves and waves of naira. What exactly is the way forward to create a level playing field? Because the provisions of our Electoral Act are one thing. The reality is quite different. INEC is unable to sort of police campaign spending as the Electoral Act enables them to do because of the sort of insidious ways that politicians go about. Where do you start with campaign financing and how do you actually properly calculate it? So there are lots of loopholes there. What should be done to create a level playing field so all voices can be heard, not the person with the largest wallet? And you're right, civilian rule is one thing, democracy is quite another. I don't really see us as a democracy at this point.
Thank you. You did a very comprehensive analysis of our situation, but I can tell you one thing. The Nigerian people have been sensitized enough. I don't need to move around the streets. I don't need to charter helicopter moving from one end of Nigeria to the other to let them know that our health sector has failed because the president is always out of the country sickly. And he's not taking any proactive measure to put anything in place. I don't need to let Nigerians know anymore that we have become too poor. We are poverty-stricken. It's there in all the streets of Nigeria. You go to Borno, you go to anywhere. The security challenges are there. So Nigerians have been sensitized. We politicians didn't mobilize Nigerians who did the NSARS. The NSARS is just a tip of the iceberg, showing that our youths are saying enough is enough. And frankly, I can tell you something. Every day in my office at the ADC Global Campus in Abuja, young men and women, they're working on daily basis to say, come, we need a direction. And that direction, I'm happy that concerned professionals again are coming together to provide. People have been sensitized. It is no longer about politicians. You see, I left a very lucrative business for the last 30 years, wanting to build an institution to rescue this country because I saw the culture in place. The culture in place is bad. The culture is and then the politicians that came, they now took advantage of it to use poverty as a weapon. But they've shared their 10,000, 5,000, all of that, and they've also threatened. All the threats that they brought, bringing all kinds of persons from across West Africa to destabilize the country just to grab power. That has come to an end because you can see the insecurity that it has caused. Nigerian youths, our women, on daily basis, you come to the ADC Global Campus and World Headquarters, and you see what is happening. Right now, the diasporans are charged. I've been having meetings with diasporans in all the continents of the world. The ADC Diaspora Network has become one of the biggest diaspora organizations, political diaspora organizations in the world. So we have learned our lessons. My dear, having put in 30 years to be able to make sure that Nigeria gets it right, this time I can assure you the leadership is in place to ensure that the movement works.
I mean, a very lofty prospect you've painted there, quite exciting one. But I want to ask you specifics. There's a problem on ground. We've got a very low tax to GDP ratio, about 6 to 10%. How can you collect more taxes for Nigeria? Secondly, there's another problem. There's a problem on ground, debt to GDP ratio, about 40% now. How can you reduce debt to GDP ratio? You're going to answer these two specifics after the break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back. Still the Rise News channel. We still have Chief Ralph Okey Nwosu, National Chairman of African Democratic Congress, one of the political parties involved, in project of politics in Nigeria. We'll talk about this and some other issues as regards politics in Nigeria. I asked two specific questions. I want solutions. Number one, tax to GDP ratio quite low. Successive governments have not been able to collect more than 7 to 8% from Nigerians in taxes. What would you do differently to make Nigerians pay taxes so that in turn this tax money can be used for the welfare and the benefit of Nigerians? Secondly, tax to GDP ratio sits at 40% now. I mean, what's it called? Debt to GDP ratio, beg your pardon, sits at 40% now as we speak in the country. What would you do to be able to reduce the debt so that we can reduce the debt and reduce the burden of servicing debt and in turn use that money, free up that money to do capital projects in the economy? What are the new thinking and new solutions and ideas you'll be bringing as regards these two key specific sectors or areas?
Thank you. You see, economists alone do not build the nation. Statisticians alone do not build the nation. What we need to have in place is the leadership. I can tell you this because as an organizational architect, you have to put the organizations together. And then we have over 200 million Nigerians. The government in place has not been able to put them to work or create the environment for them to work. And then you want to start taxing them. You want to start taxing the Nigerian young man or woman who just left school and cannot get a job. And you're not bothered about the security issues. And the money we have not being transparently used. The leadership in place has not created a culture where Nigerians will feel that will feel strong commitment to their country. As I talk to you, we have the National Assembly. It's a money guzzling institution. The Nigerians living in a diaspora bring in over about 24 billion US dollars yearly. The National Assembly themselves cannot bring in $1 billion, but at the same time, you see some irresponsibility. The National Assembly presented some diasporans presented something to the National Assembly, and the National Assembly refused to deal with it. And so the problem of the Nigerian nation is not about the citizenry doing what they are supposed to do. It's that of the leadership failing to do what they should do and carrying the money that belongs to the country and putting it in their private pocket, and nothing is being done about it. The EFCC that was set up by President Obasanjo, within the first 4 years, or within the first 8 years, was slightly effective. At least you can see all the governors was then checked. And you see incidents of that's corruption being dealt with. How do you convince the young person who is struggling to run an organization to, you need to pay more in a tax, when that's his colleague who was just elected a month before has become the next millionaire in town? You want to pay more money for what? However, the ADC program based on this. We want to see a way to pull the whole Nigerian 200 million persons to work. If the appropriate leadership is in place and we get 200 million Nigerians working in a committed manner, in a just environment, I bet you the resources to put Nigeria right and make Nigeria a superpower economy within the next 20 years, which is our vision, is there. It's very handy. So our government by 2023 will not operate under a paradigm of what we have now. So whatever statistics we have, for me, as an organization, as an organizational leader, they are nonsense.
Okay, because of time.
Because our people are not working.
No, hang on a minute. Because of hello, sir, Chief Ralph.
The system is not in place.
Chief Ralph.
Too much corruption.
Chief Ralph, because of time, I asked another question. The question of debt. You know, I'm shocked you said statistics are not germane, but they're very germane for every country development. But it's good you've been able to push aside statistics anyway. But no, the question, hang on a minute, Chief Ralph.
I said the people are not
Ralph,
working.
Hang on a minute.
We create the environment for our people to work.
Chief Ralph, just hang on.
Are working,
Chief,
will have a great effect, yes.
Just hang on. The second one is the issue of debt. 40% debt to GDP ratio. How can we bring that down? What are the new things you do to bring down the debt?
You know, for any leadership people to deal with the economy, people to deal with subject matters are the list of their problems. We have the Nigerian society have a pool of sophisticated, knowledgeable economists and financial leaders. Put them to work. But in a government where you are being selective, you're not selecting the best persons to work. You have challenges. So for ADC, when we have our best hands dealing with, by 2023, when we have a government and we have the best hands dealing with subject matters, issues that has to do with finance, issues that has to do with administration, issues that have to do with planning, you won't have challenges. But when the commander-in-chief, because that's what we have now, it's like a military democracy. When the commander-in-chief, the general president, and so on, is his office that is expected to do everything, put the right persons in power, and Nigeria problem will dissolve, because we have the best of doctors all over the world. We have the best of economists all over the world. When Okonjo-Iweala came, you know what she did with Obasanjo. The debt profile came to zero. I am not an economist. I am an organizational architect.
Did the debt profile come to zero?
I build organizations, so I know how to.
Did the debt profile come to zero in this country at any point?
Almost. But then, okay, if we are a productive economy, we will have. It will not only come to zero, we will have negative debt profile. But the economy for now is not productive. The moment you have the right leadership in place, putting the right persons to work, we will have a Nigeria that can compete with any other economy in the world. I can assure you. Listen, we should not use the ineptitude of the leadership in place today to judge a great country like Nigeria. Nigeria is a great country.
Well, on that note,
look at the corrupt monies taken out of Nigeria that is being recovered. Former governors, former presidents, and sitting governors now.
On that note, Chief Nwosu,
they are moving your money in dollars.
Well, Chief Nwosu, I'm sure we all agree with you that Nigeria is indeed a great country. The challenge is how to make the country greater than it is at the moment. We want to thank you very much.